So we're gonna talk about moving to Hawaii and renting. So we've gotten this question a lot. My military referrals, other people coming to Hawaii, they ask, hey Derek, we need to find a rental. Can your team help us find a rental? And previously the answer would be no. I hated that. We actually recorded another video about renting in the past and we ditched it because I hated that I had to turn people away. Hey guys, welcome to another video with Derek OKAHASHT and Core Team Hawaii. I'm moving to Hawaii. Today we're gonna talk about renting and renters. Can I add one thing? This is my wife's bookshelf. My bookshelf is over there. You know, Harry Potter is cool too. I was sorted into Gryffindor. My wife was salty because she's Ravenclaw, but that's besides the point. Hawaii is a state where there are plenty of renters to be had for the people that are trying to rent their homes and their condos. The agents or even the individual landlords, private homeowners on the other side, they don't entertain an agent bringing John and Jane Doe with their rental application and credit check and all that. They really don't care. They handle the situation themselves and there's no cooperating broker fee. I have a friend that lives in Miami. I joined the Coast Guard with him. He was telling me how he couldn't get a rental. Like landlords and property managers on the other side wouldn't even show him and entertain his lease unless they were vetted out. The reason being, I guess, in Miami, there's a lot of, you know, scams and things of that nature. So they really want someone who's already been legitimized before they even spend their time on them. Here, there are so many higher quality renters. The landlords and the people on the other side, they just don't care. They're like, oh, Derek, you're a real estate agent, that's great. Excuse me, get out of the way. I'll talk to the people myself. That's why in Hawaii, there's just not a market. But we are creating one. We've created a program where we can help you find your rental for a fee. You can have the full Core Team Hawaii experience, maybe virtually. So maybe you're not here yet, but you need that rental before you even get here. And it's important that you have it. You can't afford to wait until your plane touches down and then start looking because hotel time's not set up or you have dogs or whatever the case may be. Not only do we do a consultation and advise you, we also show you rentals. There is an option for us to advocate for you at a higher level. If you work with some other professionals that we partner with, there's no guarantee that we are going to find you a rental within the allotted amount of time. So we disclose that up front, but we'll do our best. Very similar to the buying process of what we would do for buyers, but instead we'll do it for renters. You know, a lot of the people watching these videos, they are like, hey, we're gonna be there, but we're just not the type to commit to buying without being there. We trust you, Derek. Your videos are amazing. We know the difference between Eva Beach and Kailua now because of your videos or whatever the case may be, but still we wanna get there, we wanna feel it, we wanna be in the traffic and meet the people, get the vibes, and I get that. Also, if you enter our renter program, you use us to find your rental, and then in the future you buy, there's an option to recoup some of that cost, really, because that was really just us solidifying that relationship and being able to help you find your rental when you knew that you were gonna purchase in 6 months or a year, whatever the case may be. I'm gonna leave it at that for the details of the rental program. Reach out to us directly. We're gonna put the information for the rental program below, specifically for renters, pure renters. We're excited because we'll be able to help more people and we don't have to tell anyone no, which was killing me. But let's talk about renting on the island. So you clicked on this title, you're probably like, hey, I didn't want just a sales pitch. So first, one of the hard things in Hawaii is renting with pets. If you pull up whatever medium to search for rentals, you click allows dogs, it might go from 100 options to 5. We're a culture where we take our shoes off to go in the house. You know, you don't even wash your feet and take your slippers off before you go in the house. And so for that reason, a lot of people just aren't down with dogs in the house. It's not impossible, but it does make things harder. And you know, you're just probably gonna have to pay a bit of a premium. I don't wanna encourage everyone to go and try this on every property. But sometimes if you offer, like, hey, you're renting this place for $3,000 a month, what if we did, you know, 3,000 and blank, 3,100, 32, 33, 34. If we did that and put a pet deposit down, would you consider it if you were able to meet our dog or, you know, whatever the case may be? I just never take no for an answer, right? Like where there's a will, there's a way. Most of the people that I do know that come here with pets, they end up finding something, but I will say that sometimes those people are military people that just choose to live in housing. If you live in base housing or even, you know, AMR, something that's off post, but it's still military housing, there's always options for places with pets. So if you're military, you know you always have a fallback. But if you're like me when I was active duty, I did not want to be in housing. I only wish I would have bought a home sooner. If you're not in the military and you're relying on finding a place to rent with dogs or with a dog or whatnot, it can be rough. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And you may not get your ideal neighborhood within your allotted amount of time. Let's talk too about short-term rentals. So short-term rentals, unless the community is resort zoned, like certain areas of resorts like Ko'olina and Turtle Bay and stuff like that. Unless it's zoned for resort and the community association is voted to allow shorter term rentals, today in the year 2021, a short term rental is anything less than 30 days. So if you rent your house out for 2 weeks, that's a short term rental and regular residential zoning. The reason why I bring that up, some people when I come and they only want to, they need a month or 3 months or 6 months. They need a place in transition. Ooh, again, the bed right up next to the entrance. Sometimes those properties are going to come furnished. So if you're bringing your household goods, be it military or non, and you're looking for that transitional housing, if you're in the military, you have TLA, and you can probably go into a hotel or something. But for the civilians who aren't in the military and they're coming here and they need 3 months or 6 months, you can find those. They're harder to find. They're usually furnished. So if you get your stuff here and you already have your couches and whatnot, if you're looking at 3 to 6 month range or 1 to 6 month range, there's a decent chance that you're going to have to put your stuff in storage until you find that either a permanent house to purchase or a permanent rental. Can you find shorter, like medium term rentals? You can. They're usually furnished. They're usually going to be about 20% more than rent would regularly be. Maybe even more than that, right? If the rent for this condo would normally be, $2,000 a month, now it might be 24, 26, or 2,800. I think 3,000 might be a little excessive, but you have a problem. You need a place for only 3 months and they have the solution, they have a place that's furnished. Regarding those medium or short-term rentals, since this video is going to be evergreen and the laws may have changed in years into the future when you're watching this, we'll do an update when it does. They are trying to change the definition of a short-term rental to anything less than 180 days in Hawaii. Now, I really think this comes from people with some really deep corporate pockets that don't like the fact that the Airbnb market dips into their bottom line, top line and their bottom line. Long after this video is posted, it may be that you'd have to have qualify for a certain exemption to get a rental that's less than 180 days. So if you want to move here and look for that 3-month solution, it may or may not exist. Some of the exemptions that are currently on the table right now are traveling nurses, military in transition, corporate rentals. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't like it. I don't like being told what to do and being controlled. It may be a 6-month term in the future, right, or close to it. One thing that I see a lot here in Hawaii, it should probably be a nationwide thing, but you may or may not have experienced it, is good property managers here, the ones that have been doing it for a while, will have really creative terms in their lease. So this is another reason to consider our renter program, because whether we're in the forefront interacting with the agent or we're in the background just kind of advising you, we can help you look over that lease. Now, we're not attorneys, we disclose that up front, but we can look over the lease, look over the special terms, see if there's anything tricky in that lease. Just like a purchase contract, a lease has a special term section where you could put all kinds of crazy stuff. No hanging pictures of whatsoever. Another normal thing is that you have to have the place professionally cleaned and have a receipt of such upon moving out. As a property owner, I think that's a good idea. And you know what? As a former renter, I rented for most of my adult life. I think that's a good idea too. When it's time for you to move, you're so stressed, just pay the $400, have a professional come out and clean, and if they forgot the oven or they didn't pull the fridge out or something, leave it to them. They have to come back. So that property manager has a course of action to get this company to come back and honor the service that they were supposed to provide. And the reason why this is really common here especially is we do have so many, transitory people and military people, etc., that by the time the property manager discovers an issue, you may be off the island and there'd be no recourse. But there could be some other weird rules put in that lease, and that's something that we could help look over for you if you're working with us in our renter program. Normal lease term, usually landlords want to sign a year lease. That's enough to incentivize you to move in and get comfortable and pay rent on time. At the same time, if you're a problem, then they'll have to deal with you for a year. Hopefully if you're watching this channel and you're rocking with us, you're not a problem, but that's the reason for that being the normal term. Occasionally you'll see a 2 or 3 year lease. I have done a 2-year lease on one of my properties in the past, but I wouldn't say that that's the standard. Also, occasionally you can find down to like a 6-month option. It's not the standard and it can be hard to find. Now, a creative thing that I might do is I might find someone that's interested in renting for 12 months, and that's what they normally do. The 6-month thing isn't even an option. So what I might propose to this agent or to this homeowner is to write in a clause that we're on a 12-month lease term, but if we were to break early, there'd be some sort of fee. Typically, you'd have to honor the whole lease. So if it were $2,000 a month and you broke the lease 6 months early because we bought you a house or we found, you know, whatever the case may be. 2 times 6, I went to Campbell, so it'd be like $12,000, right? Maybe I structure a deal where I say, hey, look, we may or may not terminate early. We would terminate no earlier than X, and if we did terminate early, instead of $12,000, it could be $1,000 a month that we're terminating early, not to exceed $5,000 or something like that. So if I'm a property owner and I'm renting to you in October, like it is now, or November or something, I may want to get my cycle trued up to the summer, have my place go vacant every May or whenever it's going to go vacant. It might work out great because maybe I put in the lease term like we will terminate no earlier than May. If this person terminates in, you know, whatever month, in March or April, then I could get thousands of dollars. And I get $5,000 and a new tenant. That really works for my numbers. I do that all day long. That's a pitch for how we solve problems for buyers and sellers as well, right? That kind of creative thinking is the difference between doing more business, solving more problems, you know, so that's the stuff I love. I know I'm this jovial, big bald-headed guy on this channel, but that's where we really thrive. When we get in a situation where we can solve the problems and produce the results, that's what this is all about. One thing that I would always want is to have pest control done before I move in. So one thing I would ask a landlord is, hey, do you do pest control, you know, every quarter or every month? Is it something that you normally do? And if not, when was the last time that it was done? Who does it? You know, I'd like to have it done before I move in, even if I'm paying for it, because they might be like, no, 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 no. But I definitely want to make sure that I can have the pest control person come, especially if I'm in a condo or something where someone else's mess may be my problem because we share a wall. I met with some buyers recently and they were talking about cockroaches, and I was like, look, I'm with you. I would be on this table if there's a cockroach. All jokes aside, make sure that you can do the pest control treatment if they're not already doing it, or even if they are, make sure that it's being done routinely. Typically for deposits, it's usually first month's rent, because, you know, mortgage is paid in arrears. You pay for the month that you just lived in the house. Rent is paid in advance, so you pay for the month that you are going to live in the house. The security deposit should not exceed a month's rent. So you shouldn't have a $2,000 a month rent with a $10,000 security deposit. If you do, there's something wrong. If you do have pets, then they very much should have a pet deposit. Knowing these things benefits to working with us, right? In terms of sides of the island, I'm not gonna go deep into that on this video because we have this whole channel about different areas and the different cultures and vibes in different parts of the island. You know, over here there's older homes and over here there's newer homes. I think that all of that applies. So we have a whole channel about that for you. I hope that this was informative. Again, we're gonna put the link in the show notes below on how to find our rental program. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know what else you guys wanna see.